England are 23 without loss as tea is taken on the second day at Lords. This is ESPN Cricket for match day. They've done the job, England. They picked up 4 wickets in that middle session of the second day's play, and they've restricted India. You'd think restricted India now to a score of 364. At one point, looked like India were ready for 400 plus. They were 267 for two at one stage on day one. So those last 8 wickets. You could call that a collapse. Steve Harmison and VVS Laxman, as we look back at it. Steve, that's a decent day so far, going to tea without the wicket gone. England will be happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's England, definitely England's day so far to get, what was it, 7 wickets for just over 80 odd runs. It was job done with the ball, and it's now the framework and the base section of the platform moving forward with the bat seems to be there, and Sibley and Burns have been watchful. I think India have bowled some challenging lengths, got the ball to swing a little bit, and the game in the last sort of hour seems to have just gone into a little bit of a lull. So
Yeah.
hopefully that will change after tea. But yeah, I think so far so good for England. It's been a good day.
Yeah, I'm glad you point that out because I will confess that I think I just dozed off for a few minutes with no disrespect to Burns and Sibley. Perhaps just a different pace at which the rest of this series has been played. What do you make of those 14 overs though, VVS? It's not like run making's been at a fast pace, but it's not also like India have created a lot of chances. What are the first 14 overs told you?
It clearly shows that the wicket is a flat wicket to bat on. And it's a great opportunity for the England batsmen to come close to Indian total or probably even surpass it. Because it's going to be tough for the bowlers. And I feel from Indian fast bowling unit point of view, they were again very relentless. They were again very disciplined, and that's what they have to continue to do throughout this innings. Because it's not going to be like a Nottingham first innings where there was a lot of purchase of the wicket and also a swing on offer. I think it's a placid wicket to bat on, and the way Sibley and Burns have started, it's very clear that they are going to play their natural game. Yes, you'll see a Joe Root, you'll probably see a Johnny Bairstow who will come and probably play a more aggressive or show that positive intent. But the rest of the other English batsmen will look to occupy the crease, spend time on the wicket, and then get runs whenever the opportunity arises.
Well, it could be hard work for the fast bowlers, but then Jimmy Anderson can pick up 5 wickets in it. Come in with injury concerns into this test match. Seventh time on the honours boards at Lords. Stephen, you've been on the honours boards at Lords too. It's not even an achievement anymore, you think, for James Anderson. It's just one of those things that he just keeps doing.
No, I think he's got his own. I think they're going to put his own up somewhere. I mean, on the other end of on one of the little walls in the corner, it's like here lies Jimmy Anderson's honours
Yeah.
board. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. 31 5 wicket hauls. It's just frightening. And come off the hour, come off the man, as the cliche and the saying goes. And how many times has Jimmy Anderson come to the party for England? And again, like VVS has just mentioned, the placidness of the wicket, but skill, class, it always comes to the fore. And like I said many times before, this guy doesn't need sideways movement off the surface or lateral movement through the air. His skill factor and his ability to change the angles from creased and wrist position alone is good enough in international cricket, and he showed it today. And to come off the field with injury doubts, yes, bowl nearly 30 overs and get five for 62 was just phenomenal. Frightening what this guy has done for English. And I've said it again, I'll say it again. Boy, we're going to miss him when he does eventually go.
Yeah, but like you pointed out yesterday, perhaps in more lightheartedly, could be playing another 15 years for all UK. He'll go past Vaughan, he'll go past Moodley, he'll just keep going. What has he shown is perhaps we speak a lot of templates, VVS, but has he shown perhaps a template of even how to bowl on this surface? It looks like one of those classic Lords pitches where lots of runs are there for the taking. What do the fast bowlers take away from how Anderson bowled? And can any of India's seamers replicate that? Or has it gotten much harder now as we approach the end of day two?
No, I'm sure the Indian seamers can replicate that, because all the four Indian seamers, I'm including Siraj also, are very skillful. Yes, they don't have the number of wickets which Jimmy Anderson has, but playing 164 test matches is not an easy achievement. But what you can learn from Jimmy Anderson is how he quickly adapts to the conditions which he's playing on. If you see in Nottingham, he was looking to take the outside edge of the batsman, whereas You are right from the word go. He was trying to attack the stumps, especially when he's bowling from the pavilion end, and he was using the crease really well because that's something which you require to do. If there is not much of lateral movement off the wicket, not much swing on offer, then you have to create that angles which can trouble the batsman and create the doubt in the batsman's mind. And that's exactly what Bumrah, Ishant Sharma, Shami, and Siraj, even in the small short spell we have seen so far,
Yeah.
have done that. There have been a lot of plays and misses from the English openers. And I think other important thing is how many loose deliveries do you see Jimmy Anderson giving away? How many four balls do you give? You see Jimmy Anderson giving to the batsmen, whether they are set or whether they are new on the crease. And that kind of discipline and also patience is something which every youngster, not only in this Test match, but every youngster can learn from Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah, is short spells the way to go in these sorts of conditions, Steve? Especially when you've banked with four fast bowlers, you think that's the best chance of getting the most out of them. Short spells and make sure the intensity from a fast bowler remains right up there.
Yeah, and I think it's bowling in a unit. It's bowling, for each other and keeping the pressure on. I think that's what England did this morning. I thought Mark Wood came with a blazing trail, and the guy at the other end kept the batsman at one end. And I thought that together, England have bowled as a collective unit very, very well. Even when Moeen Ali come on, there wasn't a great deal of spin. There was a little bit, which encouraged Jadeja, but he because he's such a good one-day bowler, his ability to keep the batsman at one end and really sort of get pressure, scoreboard pressure from that way, and not let the game go away from England. I think that took its toll, and I think the one thing about Anderson apart that will definitely surface at Lords is the ability to bowl with and without the slope, and I think that is something that is it's hard to get used to. And if you haven't played at Lords and you haven't bowled at Lords, you can get sometimes carried away because what you think is off stump, actually by the time it gets to the batsman, it's sort of middle and leg, and you'll see a lot of balls clipped into the leg side. So I think England were guilty of that first up yesterday morning, and I think India have been a little bit guilty of that as well. I think the ball is touched wide, and it's critical of being touched wide, but it's not actually. It's just because of the way the slope is, and I think it's just getting used to the wicket or the ground that they're playing on. So I think as and more the Indian bowlers bowl on this surface, the better in theory they should become because they get used to their lines and lengths. So if you're talking about short spells, I think it's just pressure, constant pressure from either end. If you can do that, you've got a good chance of picking up wickets, especially against this England batting unit.
All right, interesting. Yes, even Bumrah is playing his first test at Lords, missed the Lords test last time. And Shami's played there. Ishant, of course, is on the honours board there. So let's see how they go next session. But there's a fine conversation that was triggered with the two of you at our lunchtime show. And I'd love to go deeper into that now. When you're discussing the kind of batter you'd want, batting 6 and 7, in two parts of it. One of who is your best batter to bat at 6. The other is perhaps who's best equipped to bat with the tail. And between Jadeja and Pant, you had contrary views. Steve would like to see Jadeja bat 6 with the kind of application he's showing. Of course, Laxman's happy with Pant at 6. He's got hundreds there as well. But the last 5 wickets, Laxman fell for 34. You've been in this situation. You were wonderful at batting with the tail, changing gears. When you look at Jadeja, let's say that is his role for some time. How can he take it to the next step and be a little more effective when you're batting with the tail? What's he missing there? Because you think he's got the game, but somehow is there something that he can improve on?
The only thing which I feel Jadeja could have done is to repose a lot more belief and confidence in the tailenders because Ishant Sharma is more than capable batsman, and I've seen and I've got that experience firsthand. Bumrah has batted well in the previous Test match. Shami is more than capable batsman, and so is Siraj. So it's not that all of them can't bat or can't contribute with the bat, but if you're taking majority of the strike, until unless the bowlers are not comfortable with a particular style of bowling, or they're feeling that they can't take on a particular bowler, then I think as a genuine batsman, Jadeja could have taken more strike. But I just felt that there were a lot of singles which were on offer, which Jadeja didn't take, and that is where pressure will mount back on Jadeja because he's forced to play those big shots to get the scoreboard ticking, to score those boundaries, or maybe use a long handle to hit that sixes. So the only suggestion which probably I could give to Jadeja is to repose trust in the tailenders and just bat normally, and only when you're batting with probably the number 11 batsman, That is
Yeah.
when probably you can take majority of the strike and play those aggressive shots and get boundaries. But till then, just play normal cricket, and you will be surprised that these bowlers can also contribute with the bat, and that contribution we've seen in Nottingham how valuable it was.
Yeah, let's ask one of them. He's right here. Would you rather have the batter at the other end say, yeah, come on, take the single, I'll play it? Or would you say, no, 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 you can be there. I'm happy, then I'll strike.
To be honest, it depends who was bowling. Brett Lee's bowling at first. You
Absolutely.
can have it every day of the week. To be, you can have it, you can keep it. So I'm quite happily down Shane Warne's end. He might make me look like a fool, but he's not gonna inflict a lot of damage on my body parts. But joking aside, I think you've got to try and have, VBS is right. You've got to have a bit of belief in the guy at your end. But also, I think you've got to have a plan of attack on how you are going to do it. Whether you are going to be proactive and just block the first four balls and say, right, when they bring the field in, I'm going for sixes and fours when everybody comes in. Or I'm going to try and be proactive and try and hit the ball in the gaps and look for two, run hard, put pressure on the fielders and go that way. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way about doing it. I like Jadeja. The only reason I say Jadeja at 7 and Pant at 7 and Jadeja at 6 is in English conditions. I actually think Jadeja's got a better defensive technique and a better defensive mechanism against the moving ball against England batsmen. I think in the Southern Hemisphere or around the world against the Kookaburra ball, I don't have a problem with Pant batting at number 6. I think over here, I think defensively, Jadeja might bat for a longer period of time than Pant, especially with 3-4-5 not actually firing in this Indian batting unit.
Okay, that's curious. Let me go back to Lakshman. When you say plan when you're batting with the tail as the last recognized batter, how much do you actually put into a plan at that time, Lakshman, from your own experience, and how much of it is just instinctive?
No, I think you put in a plan, and
Hmm.
that plan you communicate with the tailender or your partner. That's very very critical, And with the experience, I can say one knock or one partnership which I very vividly remember was the one with RP Singh
Sure.
at Perth in 2007-8 series.
Yeah.
Sean Tate was the quickest in Australia, and then there was Brett Lee, there was Stuart Clark, Mitchell Johnson, and RP was comfortable playing all the fast bowlers except Brett Lee. So I took majority of the strike of Brett Lee, and eventually we got a partnership of some 60 or 65 runs, in which RP's contribution was 31, and that partnership actually helped us to have a formidable lead, and
Yeah.
eventually we won the test match. So it's all about finding out what your partner is comfortable doing or not. And I just feel that all the four bowlers who are batting at say 8, 9, 10, 11 are more than capable, and they've done in the past. If they've not done in the past, then you're a little apprehensive. But if they've done in the past, then I think the plan should be very simple. That I'm looking to play normal cricket and take it from me, Ronak. Any fast bowler or any bowler for that matter, or the opposition captain will be frustrated. What we saw in Nottingham in the first innings, when the last four wickets contribute and increase your score tally.
Yeah.
So I just feel that you have to get into that position where the opposition are frustrated. In the bargain, you'll get some freebies. In the bargain, you get those additional boundary balls.
Yeah, it's brilliant to hear. And we don't get to see the pictures in between breaks. I don't know how much Jadeja would communicate with the lower order while he's batting with them. But do you think Lakshman is the kind of thing that will come easier if Jadeja becomes more secure as a batter, as a frontline batter in the team? Perhaps something that batters tend to have, more confidence with rather than Jadeja, who's still, an all-rounder and still figuring his place or
No,
just confirming his place.
No, I just feel that see, Jadeja is already a very certain player in this playing 11. So it's not about whether you're certain in the playing 11 or you're not a certainty. It's more
Right.
about trusting your partner. I mean, I can just very quickly say about one single when I think one of the fast bowlers was bowling, and I thought it was a very easy single to take. And Ishant Sharma was a little disappointed. You should see Ishant Sharma's
Yes.
body
Yes.
language, and he was communicating with Jadeja that it was an easy single and why he didn't take. And this we're talking when the eighth batsman is on the crease. It's not like India has lost 9 wickets and it is the last pair which is
Sure.
out there in the crease. And they were taking a lot of risky runs in the end, which and there was at least 2 or 3 run out opportunities which probably England missed. So I just feel that it's not about how certain Jadeja is as far as his position in the playing 11 is concerned. It's
Sure.
more about him understanding that this is the role he has to play, especially if the template of Virat Kohli is to go with four fast bowlers. So he will be playing with one of the recognized batsmen, and then he has to shoulder the responsibility with four fast bowlers. So he has to develop that plan, and this is also part of preparing for that position which he's batting on.
All right, fair enough. Steve, do you sometimes listen to these chats and go, God, you guys expect everything out of the bowlers. No one sits and talks about Kohli is struggling, Rahan is struggling, Pujara is struggling. You want to worry about how much 8, 9, 10 Jack are going to contribute.
The thing that makes me laugh is when at the end of the day you've bowled 40 overs and you've fielded for 120 overs, and then one of the batsmen goes, "Come on, you go and put the pads on," and you've got Brett Lee and Glenn McGrath bowling 90 mile an hour and bowling at your head for that night watchman, and you're thinking, "Well, just do your job. You're telling me to." Yeah, many times I've done this for Kevin Peterson, and he's run up to me from like mid off, and he'd go, "Well, you bowled at the stumps when you're trying to bowl at number 11," and then he finds a way of coming over to sort of put his arm around you just before the last 6 overs of the day and go, "Go on, mate, any chance of you going in night watchman for me?" Must admit, I laugh at that when that happens normally from a bowling point of view.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
tell me,
Steve, actually, when we were playing, there was so much of competition for that night watchman spot because all the bowlers I played with, thought, and they were, more than capable batsmen. They've got hundreds, test match hundreds, So there was a lot of competition who and when the opportunity will arise to go as a night watchman.
yeah, the trouble, Steve, from you guys is I thought there was like an unwritten rule anyway, right? You fast bowlers, you don't go after me, I won't go after you. Nothing on my body, nothing on your body. Was that not followed enough, perhaps?
No, I think that went out. I think that went out with the York. I don't think that really was applicable to the fast bowlers. I remember Andrew Flintoff having a little agreement with Murley when they played at Lancashire. I think Freddie wasn't allowed to bowl bouncers at Murley and for the first four balls, and Murley couldn't bowl a deucer to Andrew. And there was one game in Sri Lanka where Andrew had bowled two balls. He had been planted over his head for six twice. Nasser Hussain is apoplectic at why he is not bowling bouncers at Matthias Muralitharan. And then after the fourth ball, he smacked him for another four. And Nasser wasn't very happy at the big all-rounder who couldn't quite get the Yorker in. And that went out the window from there. And actually, Murray was using one of Freddie's bats, which Nasser was definitely not happy with at the end of that. So there are some agreements, but no, not many with the fast bowlers.
Yeah, everyone loved Murli.
Yeah, yeah. I know what Stuart Broad would say if he was on this show about what that agreement is. He'd probably say it's absolute rubbish. So we'll just leave it there. We'll pick up this chat. Final session is already picked up at Lords. Thank you very much to VVS Laxman and Stephen Harmison, wonderfully in red today, as we of course join the cause of everybody at Lords in tandem with the Ruth Strauss Foundation. It's a big one, and as I speak, you've seen that India have made their first breakthrough. So that's a first wicket that's already gone. Maybe before I quickly leave, it's Dom Sibley. So that's a wicket that they've taken. Steve, I'll just come back to you on that. Hasib Hamid gets a game for England. How big is this now?
It is the big innings for Hamid. He's in fine form, so he's been picked on form. Dom Sibley will not want to see that again. That is a soft dismissal. Arguably a lot softer than KL Rahul's this morning. It was actually, to be honest, VVS, I've got no idea how he's got in that position to hit the ball into that area. He looks as though his head's facing one way, his feet's facing a completely other way. And we're talking about tail enders batting with proper batsmen. Well, that's a shot I would play and not a top order batsman.
Yeah,
don't
have you had a look?
underestimate your batting skills.
Yeah. Okay, more on this when we speak at stumps, because Sibley's gotten out in similar fashion last test too, just finding himself in an awkward position, caught at short mid-wicket. He took the catch of KL Rahul this morning, so a little bit of payback as Rahul catches him at mid-wicket, and that's the end of Dom Sibley. We'll pick up the conversation and see where this session stands, then this day stands at stumps. Join us then on ESPN Cricket for Matchday. India have made a pretty good start to the final session. Let's see how England go. They still trail by 341.